All right, we are here with actor Brian Patrick Murphy. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Why don't you give us a little bit of background of when you first decided you wanted to become an actor?
I think I finally made the decision when I came back to drama school in New York. I studied at Fordham University Lincoln Center, and I mean, I had done musicals and things in high school, and I think I played Captain Hook in second grade, so it was always there, but making a decision to pursue this as my career was pretty big for me, and I probably made that decision around 19 or so.
Okay.
So came up to New York to finish school at Fordham and graduated when I was 23, and have been, pounding the pavement ever since then. So.
And you've had some success pounding it. Why don't you talk about some of the roles that you've...
So just recently, I did a day on Martin Scorsese's new pilot. It's for HBO. It's called Untitled Rock and Roll Project.
Okay.
And I was just down in Texas shooting a film called Occupy Texas, written by Gene Gallerano, who's a friend of mine, who's starring in it, directed by Jeff Barry. Lorelei Linklater's in it, daughter of Richard Linklater. Janine Turner, so that should be a nice release probably in the next year. They should have that done. A horror film I did called Julia is premiering in LA in September, I believe.
Very nice.
So I make an appearance in that, and
don't. Just an appearance doesn't sound very promising for you.
Well, she's on a, I'm not going to ruin the film, but she's on a bit of a rampage, and I'm one of the guys that gets away, so.
Oh, well. You didn't have to act out a death scene on camera then?
I did, not for that.
Not for that.
Not for that. And done quite a bit of theater in New York. I produced and acted in a play called The Clearing off Broadway in January, February. That was written by a Yale MFA named Jake Jeppson. Josh Hecht, who won a Drama Desk a few years ago, directed. And yeah, that was quite an experience. It was a 1.5 year process from the day I got the rights to the closing performance.
So what was that like, going through that whole process as not only an actor, but somebody who really had to see the whole process through?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a firm believer in, actors creating their own opportunities and their own work, because there's so much talent in New York and it is so competitive. Like, how can you create an opportunity and stand out? And that's the way you start thinking about it. And then I remember we were in tech and I was looking at all of the people who had built the stage, and the design team, all of the actors, the director, the AD, the stage manager, all the PAs who were involved, our run crew, and just creating work for that many people becomes kind of a reward. So it certainly starts out with the desire to do a play, and then it turns into something a lot larger, which I think tends to be the most rewarding part. I mean, this is the largest scale production that I ever put together. I've done quite a few showcases and things like that before. But it's a trying experience. I mean, certainly the fundraising end of it is no fun.
Right.
Begging.
Did you go to the like the Indiegogo way?
We did an Indiegogo campaign. We also, raised money on the outside and got some private donations and things like that. And I lost a whole bunch of my own personal money on it, which I knew I was going to do going in. It wasn't like a major surprise or anything like that. But there's a certain level of satisfaction and the learning experience. I mean, really, what goes into any show. I've had that experience being a producer on film sets, obviously small indies and things like that. And I think being multifaceted as you grow in your career is certainly a valuable tool to have.
Absolutely, because it helps you see from everybody's eyes what they may be looking for when you're the actor.
Right. So that's what's been going on lately. So I'm currently producing a show on the Fringe called One Woman Gone Wrong, starring Leslie Cabané, directed by Karl Bury. So they have their premiere the 10th. Yes, the 10th, which is Sunday.
Okay.
At 9:45. Down at the Players Theater, 114 McDougal. So Come check it out.
That should be, yeah, that'll be exciting.
It's a very entertaining show. So again, that's been another interesting experience, because usually I'm acting in anything that I have my hands in, because I'm an actor first and foremost. So to really kind of sit back and see things develop from that perspective, again, another great learning experience. It leaves me plenty of time to go out and audition while I'm not doing theater.
What have you learned along the way, being in the different genres like movie and film and, you know, the pilot? What things stuck out for you from each of them that helped either or may hinder you in one or the other, in terms of a way that you go about the way you go about preparing for it? Is there a way you prepare differently for theater than you do for the pilot, or the way?
They're very different mediums. I mean, and you go to any quality theater program in New York City, in the country, you're not going to spend any time, or a very minimal amount of time, working in front of a camera. So, I mean, the goal is to get down to the bottom line of the truth of whatever the moment is that you're working on. That's, I think, uniform throughout both, but there are certain things that you need to be aware of when you're working on camera that don't apply when you're on stage. And I'm not just talking about major physicality, but certainly, you know, keeping your eyes up and level, like that's important. You know, and I've taken on camera classes that kind of deal with that, because I didn't have that training going in. You know, you work with some really good casting directors, and they'll just be like, remove the physicality entirely, you know, because an audition situation is very different than actually doing the job on set, because you'll have all the things that you're playing with on a set for the most part. And I've worked on such a large scale, from like a really small scale production to a major production that has tons of money to burn. You know, those are the difference between those experiences is essentially, you know, the amount of people that are going to be working and the equipment that they have. I don't really know, Brian, if I'm coming back to your answer, but I will say that they are they're different mediums, and I do think that needs to be taken into account when you're working, you know, in either. You can't approach a role on stage as if you're, you know,
filming
this
for a
tight
camera. Yeah.
Right.
What advice would you give to newcomers who are just starting out in the business?
Training. I mean, there are so many variables that go into getting cast or not getting cast that are out of your control. I think it's really important for me and, you know, the people that I'm close with, is to have some sense of your value as an artist, you know, and I don't think that I would still be in the game if I didn't have that. I don't think I would still be in the game if I wasn't surrounded by the people that I know from, you know, my class. I've been in a regular scene study class for years on Sunday evenings, and, you know, there's a small group of us that has put up work together. You know, we're constantly doing other workshops outside, and those are the people that, you know, if I've had a rough week of auditions or something and nothing's come through, you know, you can just come back to them and then come back to the work, you know, whatever you're working on. Because ultimately, it's not, the jobs that you're working are going to take up a very short period. At this level in my career, are going to take up a very short period of time. It's what I'm doing when I'm not on those jobs that really is going to make the difference for me. You know, having a fulfilling career and fulfilling life. And for me, that's, you know, being an eternal student. And I think, you know, I started a Shakespeare workshop like a year ago, whereas a year ago I was scared, you know, to walk in a room and audition for Shakespeare. Now it's not a problem. I mean, I'm looking forward to the chance when I get to step on stage, you know, and do one of those great plays, preferably a drama, maybe a comedy. We'll see.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for taking the time, Brian, to sit down with me, and we look forward to what's ahead for you.
Yeah, A Good Marriage is premiering. I think it comes out October 1st. I'll make an appearance in that as well. It's a Disney Touchstone film. Anthony Lapaglia and Joan are the leads, based on a Stephen King thriller of the same name. So
very cool. Then we will definitely keep an eye out for that one.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.